The Yeti. A mythical creature. A beast of epic proportions. A monster terrorizing mountain villages throughout Asia. For people like myself, statements like this turn a fascinating subject into a second-page tabloid story. It makes discussion of the topic increasingly frustrating. Wouldn't it be nice if we just stopped talking about this mythical creature we've nicknamed the Abominable Snowman and just talked science for a moment? The never-ending and sometimes overwhelming skepticism that revolves around this topic is mostly because we're too busy trying to prove folklore or fairy tales true. Let's take a look at the cold hard facts. We already know and accept that the Yeti as a species existed. What?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
It's not some fantasy. Let me explain. There are two theories in the world of cryptozoology. Both revolve around actual, factual discoveries. And might I say for the record, cryptozoology is a word I'm not too fond of. But that's a topic for discussion at another time, so let's get back to the facts. The first of these theories is based on the discovery of Homo heidelbergensis. Homo heidelbergensis, a form of primitive man, much larger and believed to be more ape-like than modern-day man. To some, this theory makes more sense in regard to the North American ape, more commonly known as Bigfoot. Currently, there is new DNA evidence that suggests Bigfoot is more man than ape, something we will explore in another episode of this series. But for now, let's talk Yeti. The second, more popular theory, and the theory we will explore, is a known species, Gigantopithecus. A 9 to 10 foot tall primate that walked alongside early man. The species was discovered in 1935, and its last known habitat, what do you know? Asia. Believed to be extinct for 100,000 years, this animal, or one of its lesser known cousins, is believed to be responsible for the history of the Yeti. So I say it again, we already know and accept that the Yeti once existed as a species. The one modification to that statement is that the animal is known to science as Gigantopithecus. For hundreds of years, sightings have been reported throughout various regions of the Himalayas. In China, similar reports also exist, but there they call the animal the yerin, or in India, they're called mande burung, in Siberia, the almas, but you get the picture. In the country of Bhutan and in China, the animal is recognized and protected by the government. Do they know something we don't? In fact, some news sources in Asia claim Chinese officials have already studied them successfully in the wild. But we'll just have to wait and see on that one. At this point, I would like to look at a few examples of extinction and rediscovery to establish a precedent. In paleontology, there is a term, lazarous taxon. Have no idea if I'm saying this right, and I can really give a right now if I am or not. I'm no paleontologist, and I've never studied Latin. Lazarus taxon, a group of organisms that disappears from one or more periods of the fossil record only to appear again later. In 1983, the coelacanth was discovered. This species was supposed to be extinct for over 65 million years. All of a sudden, 100,000 years doesn't seem so long ago. And again, a second species of coelacanth was discovered in 1999. It too supposed to be extinct for, you guessed it, 65 million years. Let's get out of the sea and onto land. How about the Laotian rock rat, believed to be extinct for 11 million years? Western science rediscovered the species in 1996, but locals in a small Laos village had been familiar with the animal for years, and yes, even selling their meat and fur in their markets. Yummy. Rock rat. This brings up a very interesting point. Let's forget about Lazarus taxon and just focus on the knowledge of local peoples. In my opinion, the best way to learn about any region of the world. Moving closer to our current subject, let's talk primates specifically. We already know that chimpanzees exist, but ever heard of the bili ape, sometimes referred to as the bondo mystery ape? When hunters, more specifically poachers, in the northern Congo region talked about a ground-nesting chimp over 5 feet tall that sometimes walked on 2 legs and was known to kill, hunt, and eat lions, scientists chalked it up to misidentification and a few isolated incidents. These are not the known habits of chimpanzees. After all, a bunch of uneducated locals really aren't qualified to tell university-trained biologists the difference between primates. Hunting and tracking these animals in the jungle every day since puberty isn't as respected as studying lab animals, pictures in textbooks, and fossils. Well, in 2006, the bili ape species was officially recognized after 10 years of chasing after evidence. Until then, it was mostly questionable photos, footprints, and local testimony that researchers had to go on. Bigfoot, excuse me. Even after the bili ape's discovery, the longest known period of observation experienced in the wild is 20 hours. Why? The habitat is just too difficult for field researchers to navigate effectively. It's also the prime reason physical evidence had been so hard to find. These are also rough conditions for preservation, making things like bones and scat difficult to recover. Why then is it so hard to believe that an elusive, highly intelligent primate in a near impossible terrain probably exists? There are hundreds of mountain regions in the Himalayas that have never even been walked upon or seen by man. Are we really so arrogant, given our past mistakes, that we know with all certainty what lies within these habitats? Could something mistakenly be classified as extinct? It's happened before. That's all I'm saying. We have plenty of documented footprints. A 2011 expedition has retrieved possible hair samples. Early testing is suggesting a large primate. We also have a fossil record, and we know that Gigantopithecus once lived in this region alongside man, not too far back on the historical timetable. They are thought to be extinct, yet sightings and collective evidence have piled up for years. Based on what we already know, it seems to me that further study needs to be pursued. Yet talking about the Yeti in any context outside of legend is sure to get you labeled a quack. I know that my friends think I'm crazy. Oh well. But what if, just what if, the next time the local media decides to run a tabloid piece about some crazy, uneducated Nepalese farmer's run-in with the Abominable Snowman, what if the headline went something like this? A surge in Gigantopithecus sightings sparks debate about their extinction. Story at 11. Yeah, I like that. That headline is not only fair in my opinion, but complimentary. Complimentary to people that swear by their experiences, and it's also respectful. Respectful to the researchers already in the field. Could we change public perception? I don't know. But at the very least, let's stop vilifying those that come forward to share their stories. That just might encourage others to come forward as well. After all, isn't discovery a part of science? Isn't mystery and the unexplained the catalyst for research? Isn't adventure and curiosity what drives the youth towards studying the sciences? I don't know about you, but I prefer to live in a world of possibilities. That world is much more exciting to me. An optimistic world inviting to the imagination. In this world, the Yeti has a chance of existing. For me, that's the world I prefer to live in.
That's my time. Thank you and good night.